Hello, my loves, and welcome back to the School of You 23 podcast. Before I start this part two, this final episode of A Long Goodbye, I want to dedicate this episode to my father who unexpectedly and recently transitioned. So this has a different meaning to it. And I'm going to ask you to bear with me on this one. So let's begin, shall we? Hmm. There's a crossroads many of us reach where a dream we've held close starts to feel less like an inspiration and more like a weight. We've invested so much time, energy, our very own sense of self that letting go seems unimaginable. That's because sometimes hope, however slim, is all that keeps us afloat. That's all you got. Sometimes hope is all you have to hold on to. And clinging to it feels like an act of survival because the very thought of this situation or this dream being hopeless or never going to happen is almost unimaginable to even think about. And yes, those platitudes about it's never too late, well, they're true sometimes, but other times they can only add to our burden. So, how do we discern between those two? When should we keep fighting for a dream? And when is it time to acknowledge a different future? That's what we're wrestling with today. That's what we're going to be wrestling with today. So, welcome, my loves, to the School of You 23 podcast, where we discuss sensitive topics and attempt at unloading and unraveling these unresolved traumas together. And today's topic, we're going to be talking about this is part two on the long goodbye. How do I find a new path while grieving a dream? If you like everything that you are hearing, if you feel like that this can be a good support for anyone, please consider sharing it with someone who might need to hear it today. You can find us on Instagram at School of You 2023, on TikTok at School of You 23, and dive deeper into the conversation in our Geneva app, School of You 23 community chat. Okay, so let's get back into this segment. First, let's be real about how deeply dreams intertwine with who we are. They represent our potential, our values, our yearning for a better life. So, even the thought of letting them go can feel like chipping away at a piece of ourselves, which understandably triggers fear, right? Because this is something that we have nurtured. This is something that this has been our driving force. And so it has became part of our essence. And so to come to the realization that this dream is either deferred or cannot or will not happen, that's a unbelievable fear. It triggers such an unbelievable fear because we also fear regret, right? What if we give up on it or gave up on it too soon? Okay. What if we were just one more step away from the breakthrough? What if the breakthrough was last week? I mean, next week. But I gave it 10 years. It's always a what is, so coulda, woulda, shoulda. Those questions keep us stuck in a painful loop. And yet, here's the thing, fighting for a dream at all costs, it can drain our joy. It can stifle our growth in other areas and even harm our well being. There's a difference between healthy determination and an obsession that's dimming our light. You have to know the difference. You have to know the difference. So, how do we find that balance? How do we know the difference? Okay, here are a few questions to ask yourself with ruthless honesty. I'm going to say it again. I'm going to give you a few questions to ask yourself, but you have to be brutally honest with yourself. Is the joy still there? That's the very first one. Is the joy still there? Was this journey once fulfilling, or has it become a slog defined by stress and desperation? Is the joy still there? Now, you also have to look at the cost versus potential. Okay, Natasha Denise, what do you mean by that? What are you sacrificing to keep chasing this? Is it your health, your relationships, financial stability? Is the potential reward still worth the price? You have to ask yourself. These are not easy questions. Like, what are you sacrificing to keep chasing this? Is it worth it? What progression have you made? Is it suffice? Is it enough to keep you going? Is it enough to keep you sacrificing? Reassessment. Realistic reassessment. You're going to have to take a step back. You're going to have to do some detaching from your emotions. And you're going to have to look at what are the practical roadblocks here. Do you honestly see a way to overcome them? The roadblocks that has been preventing you from reaching the full potential of your dream. Is there a way to honestly and realistically overcome them? Because if it's not, then all you gonna ever be doing is reaching, but you're never gonna catch shit. If the answers bring more despair than hope, it might be time for a hard conversation with yourself. And this isn't about failure. It has absolutely nothing to do with failure. It's all about redirecting your courage. It's a powerful truth. It's a powerful truth, my loves. Sometimes the bravest thing we can do is to let go of the dream we envision in order to be open to the unexpected path that might actually lead us to fulfillment. And that's a hard reality for some people. That's that is not the easiest thing to do, and I understand that. I am walking in it. But if you're not realistic about yourself and the dream that you are chasing, that you are after, all it's ever going to be is a vision. That's all it's ever going to be is a vision. There will never be no fulfillment. And I'm not saying that this is easy because It's not. It's absolutely not. So I'm not sitting here saying that if you try it and you fail, that you're a failure at it, stopping it. No, you're gonna try, you're gonna have relapses, and it's not. My father always said, if you don't fall, you stumble. You don't fall, you stumble. And I never heard no one not being successful because they stumbled. People are not successful because they stopped, not because they stumbled. But acknowledging that a dream may not manifest in its original form can open the door to surprising new possibilities if you are open to that, if you open yourself to that, if you are honest with yourself. We carry the lessons learned, the skills gained, and maybe, just listen, just maybe, we'll find that the dream we had to let go of, maybe letting go of that dream, maybe be paving the way for something even better. And although you can't see it now, give it some time. Like my granny always say, Rome was not built in a day. Give yourself some time to allow yourself to go through the process of this dream maybe not being beneficial for you. Or maybe the path that you chose for this dream may not be beneficial for you. Maybe the dream is still worth having. Maybe the dream is still worth chasing. But maybe you have to go about it another way. Only you can determine that. If you're struggling with this, just know that you're not alone. So many of us are struggling with that. So many of us. The dream of a future that you have for yourself that may not happen, a dream that you might have for your kids, a dream that you might have for your parents, dream that you might have for your family, a dream that you might have, you know, for whomever or for whatever reason. When you are faced with the reality that that dream may not come true, or you have to change paths to accomplish it, all of that, all of that can be devastating. And the more time you put into it, the more devastating it can be. But don't let that devastation devour you. Allow that grief for that dream to happen. Don't try to run away from it. Don't try to self-soothe with alcohol and substances and different things like that. That shit's still gonna be there. Pain's still gonna be there once it's all said and done. Feel it, go through it, process it. And then you move forward. And as you move forward, carry with you the essence of the School of U23 philosophy. Reflect. Take time to process the ideas we've explored in this segment, part one and part two. Was there something that resonated deeply, an uncomfortable truth, or a spark of inspiration? Sit with it. Let it marinate. Then after you do that, you're going to refocus. Where can you direct your energy now? Is it time for bold action, a change of pace, or just simply holding space for yourself? I'm saying it again, just simply holding space for yourself. Allow yourself to stand still for a minute. Allow yourself to stand still. You cannot refocus when you got 20 million people in your ear. You don't need reassurance. You know what you need to do. Not that you refocus, you need to go ahead and release. What needs to be let go of? A limiting belief, a counterproductive habit, or perhaps the need to have all the answers. The fear of everybody is watching me. And I have people, I have people that's watching me. I have people right now that want my podcast to fail. I have people right now that listen to my podcast just to dissect it, to destroy it. I have people right now that any chance they get, they will attempt at trying to denigrate me or my character. And so you end up having anxiety. You be scared to chase your dreams. But let me tell you something, baby, you release all of that. Release all of it. All of it. Because what they eat don't make you shit. They gonna do what they do. Of course they want you to fail. Of course. But it's like my granny said, it's not what you think about me, it's what I think about you. You don't let nobody rent a thought in your mind for free. Don't let nobody rent a room in your head for free. So you release all of that. Anything that is not for you, that is not for your progression, that brings you no joy, that brings you no peace, you let that go. You release that because that's going to hold you back. And after you release, you re-engage. How can you engage with your life with fresh perspective? This could be reaching out to someone that you trust, exploring new opportunity, especially if it's a dream that's still attainable, that you can still reach. You just got to go about a different path. So explore that. Don't fight it. Explore it. Or committing to a small act of self-care. And people don't think that that is important, but that is extremely important. That is extremely important. Because if you're not taking care of yourself, especially your mental and physical health, everything is blurred. All the lines are going to get blurred. You're not going to be able to reflect, refocus, release, or re-engage with anyone, with anything. You have to make sure self is taken care of first. Remember, my loves, growth isn't always linear, but with intention of and self-awareness, it happens. It happens. I am a living proof of that. It happens. And this, my love, is the heartbeat of the School of U23 podcast. And if you like this episode or if you like this segment, join us on our journey. Join us. We welcome you because we're all going through life. And this is one hell of a journey with roller coasters we couldn't even be prepared for. But you're not alone, and no one should feel alone. And if you do feel alone, I hope that I helped you in some type of way and gave you some type of comfort to letting you know that you can get through this and you will get through this. And I am not a mental health professional. However, I do believe that some of these issues can be more than what we can endure by ourselves. And that is absolutely fine. And with that, make sure you go seek out professional help because we can't do this alone. So join us on our journey. You can find us on Instagram at School of You 2023. Or if you're on TikTok on School of You 23. And if you want to, just go ahead and you can download the Geneva app. And you can dive in a deeper conversation with the rest of us. And that's School of You 23. That's the community chat. So, my loves, thank you for listening and sharing your time with me. It was amazing discussing my thoughts with you. Until next time, keep reflecting, keep refocusing, keep growing. You got this.